What are the common mistakes a buyer makes while applying for a mortgage?
There is nothing called as 100% finance. Many people have misunderstood, thinking that the bank is keeping the house so they can get 100% finance.
Meet Mr. Nainani, a leading voice in Dubai's mortgage industry with years of experience guiding both residents and global investors. Mr. Nainani breaks down how to secure a mortgage in the UAE.
What exactly is mortgage?
Mortgage synonym is a home loan. That's how banks use it. In Islamic, they call it as home finance. Under the conventional, they call it home loan. Placing a lien on that property at land department where they can't sell it ahead till they set up the loan is called a mortgage or a home loan.
Why it does not help? I have 5 properties. I have 5 bungalows in India. I do have collateral.
I don't have the bandwidth. No, a bank sitting in Dubai can't evaluate Indian properties or properties in Pakistan. Being wealthy is good, but every time that wealth can't be put on paper.
This episode dives deep into getting a mortgage approval to what really happens if you default.
If I become a defaulter, I took a loan, I lost my job, what should I do? Do you inform the client there would be a penalty? Can you walk us through the mortgage approval process for a newcomer in UAE? What advice would you give them to own a property? Why are more people using cash while purchasing property in the UAE?
Millionaires don't take loans. If you see someone buying 100 million penthouse, he doesn't take a loan. A lot of millionaires are also moving to UAE. One thing good about UAE is we don't follow global trend. People follow us. So whatever UAE initiates or starts, the world starts following us.
Mr. Nainani shares insider knowledge that could save you time, money, and stress. Stay tuned. This is Beyond Luxury by Arista Property.
Today's episode is for someone who's looking to buy their first property in Dubai. And the biggest challenge they face is financing. Did you know that you can get a loan in UAE and pay it back over a period of 25 years? And these form of loans are called mortgages. Today we have Amit Nainani, the Director of Sales at Lion Mortgages, who has been demystifying the mortgage market for a very long time. So without any further ado, let's kickstart the episode and help you secure your first home. What exactly is mortgage? And how is it different from a loan?
So just the mortgage means placing a lien on a property. So whenever an individual buys a property, it could be residential, commercial, you can say a warehouse or a factory setup, placing a lien on that property at land department where they can't sell it ahead till they set up the loan is called a mortgage or a home loan.
And how is it different from any other loan?
Home loan is particularly taken for a house. So a mortgage is generally on an asset, which is a property. It could be any type of property. As I explained to you, could be a residential unit, could be a commercial unit.
Can we say that a mortgage is a kind of a loan?
Mortgage is a kind of a loan. So mortgage synonym is a home loan. That's how banks use it. In Islamic, they call it as home finance. Under the conventional, they call it home loan or mortgage loan.
Can you walk us through the mortgage approval process step by step in Dubai?
There are 2 types of clients. One would be a salaried client, person who works on a fixed salary for an unrelated company. Second would be a self-employed individual who has his own business. Both these people will need to give their KYC documents, passport, visa, Emirates ID, their income documents, which would show either a salary certificate or their company ownership documents. Third would be their bank statements. On basis of all these, their eligibility is calculated. So any client who wants to take a mortgage initially takes a pre-approval, by ways of which he gets to know his eligibility. And then he approaches a real estate agent or a broker, shortlist a property, then a valuation happens. Post-valuation, the bank issues a final offer letter. So once the final offer letter is issued, then they go to the land department and transfer the property.
Is the pre-approval very much like a credit score, and how important is that?
Pre-approval is like an eligibility confirmation. Today, if I'm an individual, I don't know what is my eligibility. So a pre-approval confirms from a bank side that, Amit, you can borrow this much, balance is your contribution that you can put from your side.
And how is that calculated?
It's calculated on my income. For a salaried, they take 50% of your DBR. That's called debt burden ratio for a salaried individual. For a self-employed, it's taken on his profit share. So ways are different, but it's a longer calculation.
What are the top things which a lender look at while approving a mortgage?
First is the salary bracket you're working at, the designation and the credit history. Every individual who has an Emirates ID in UAE has a credit report, which is maintained by the AECB authority. So that shows all our borrowings in the country. Could be our utility bill payments, could be our credit card bill payments, auto loan, mortgage loan, all loans that we have borrowed. It shows a repayment history. Any delay impacts the score. So whenever a bank is lending, a good score helps. Al Ittihad Credit Bureau, that's the authority which manages this data.
So all the transactions which you make via your credit card, via your loan, it all goes to the authority, and you have all transparent
They
data
don't get
visible.
the transaction, they get the repayment history, which means if I have a card bill due date of, let's say, the 10th of June, am I paying them on time? That's monitored by AECB. So same is for card bills, same is for any utility bill, Deva, Siva, Etisalat do. Idea is, if I have borrowed from someone, am I paying them on time? Because that shows a trend that I'm a good repayment guy.
Understood. So what's a good score,
Anything above 700 is good.
and what's a bad score for a mortgage?
Bad depends on the client's profile. Why is it bad? So if a score is bad, we would want to understand at times, let's say I have a card payment which is delayed. Was I out of town? That's why it got delayed. Was I stuck in some other country where I couldn't travel back? So it could be understood and explained to the bank as well. At times there are genuine reasons.
For a common man, when they apply for a mortgage, they don't know the credit score. So they apply for a mortgage, and then the bank does the check, and they get to know that the rating is poor or good. If I'm not wrong, there is an interest which also varies based on your score. So how do you calculate the interest rate based on your credit score?
Just to clarify, each one of us can pull out a credit report. So there is an app on the App Store where you can download it and pull out the report for some 84 dirhams. That would show our history of what all borrowings we have and are we paying on time. As of today, it also shows which company do I work, what is my salary as well. So it shows the complete data about me. Second is, I need to be careful myself. If I'm borrowing anything from anywhere, I should pay on time. I should never bounce a check. Because if I'm giving you a check, let's say I pay you a check of 10,000, it's my duty that I should clear it properly rather than bouncing it. So that shows my intent and a behavioral pattern. If my pattern is that I'm not paying people on time, no bank will lend me for any product.
What is that app called, if you don't mind me telling
It's
me?
called AECB, Al Ittihad Credit Bureau app.
That you can simply download and check your credit score. So let's say I have skipped that step and I've applied for a mortgage and my score is bad. How much time the bank would give me to correct my scores, to correct my payment terms?
Bank will not give you time. Bank will say to wait till the score improves. The bank is not running short of business. So if they know someone has an issue, they don't want to waste time on that. If the score is bad for multiple reasons, check return, or someone who's not paying utilities on time, bank doesn't want to waste time on him, because then tomorrow if they are lending him, he may not pay the bank as well.
So you just simply reject, and then the person reworks on the credit score by themselves, make sure that the payment goes on
They
time.
have to
But how soon
continue
can they
paying
apply?
on time. There is nothing as a standard formula. 6 months or 1 year, he has to pay for his existing borrowings on time. Then automatically the score will improve.
If my score was bad this month, in June, I applied and it got rejected. Can I come back to you in August and say that, hey, I corrected my payment? If I had dues, I have cleared them all. And will it impact my credit score? And are the chances of me getting an approval better?
Depends in 3 months how much has the score changed. If your score was 540, which is bad, and bank looks at 700, so it won't jump from 540 to 700 in 3 months.
Okay, so that's exactly what I'm asking, that how much
So there is
time
no
it
standard
takes.
time frame. At least you have to give 6 months to 1 year.
So once it's rejected, at least 6 months to 1 year to
correct
move
the
to
score
a
or improve
better
the score,
score.
yeah.
Why is mortgage pre-approval so important in Dubai?
History, mortgage pre-approval is like an eligibility confirmation. If today I am a new buyer who wants to buy a house for myself, a bank pre-approval will confirm me on my income how much am I eligible. Because accordingly, I could tell an agent that please shortlist a house for me accordingly. So if in my salary, I can get a loan of, let's say, 800,000. So accordingly, I will tell a broker, please look out for a house for 1 million dirhams, because 20% is my contribution, 80% is the financing the bank is doing. So that helps in me and the broker understanding where do we stand. Because there's no point of me telling 2-3 brokers to find a house and after 10 days getting to know that value I can't get a loan on.
Understood. So
It's a waste of time for everyone.
It gives clarity to everyone in the system, and especially to the buyer. And how much time does it take to
Pre-approval
get an
in
approval?
certain bank takes 2 days. In certain bank, it takes 1 week. So it depends on the client profile as well. If a client is salaried, he can get a pre-approval, let's say in 2 days also. If he's self-employed, it takes around 2 to 3 weeks.
And why is that?
In a salaried, income is standard, his salary is from an employer, so it's easier to calculate. For a self-employed, the bank needs to understand his business model. How many employees does he have? Visit his office and then underwrite him. That's why.
Got it. And what are the common mistakes a buyer makes while applying for a mortgage?
Every buyer should know that there is nothing called as 100% finance. Many people have misunderstood, thinking that the bank is keeping the house so they can get 100% finance. So there's nothing like 100% finance. A buyer can get 80% finance if the property is less than 5 million. If the property is above the 5 million value, he will get 70% finance. And the critical part is him having the down payment. We should know how much money we have in hand to execute the transaction, and then we should employ people to spend time in shortlisting the house.
This is the threshold which you explained, which a common man is not aware of. You walked us through the process, right? That they need certain documents, they need a credit score, etc., etc. So what common mistakes you see a buyer making in that process?
Generally, people make mistakes in understanding what they want to buy. Like, I may see a house for 2 million, but after 2 days, I get to know I'm not eligible to take that house. So it's very important to first see the cash in hand and meet a mortgage broker to calculate your eligibility.
So you decide that, okay, I have this much money. You go to the bank, you understand you will get a mortgage of this much value. So now you have clarity of your down payment versus your mortgage amount, and then you start looking for a house.
And I'll advise to visit a mortgage broker. Reason being, if I go to my bank, they will sell me an X product. But if I go to a mortgage broker, he can tell me what 10 banks are offering and which is more preferable for me. With my income of, let's say, 20,000 dirhams a month, I am eligible with bank A for 1 million dirham, bank 2 for 1.2 million. So that is what a mortgage broker will help you in knowing.
You mentioned that a person can get up to 80% of the property amount financed. Is this threshold different for a UAE resident and a non-UAE resident?
Yes. So if you're a resident who has income in UAE, then you're getting up to 80% for less than 5 million property value. Above 5 million, it's 70, having an income in UAE. But if you're a non-resident having income outside UAE, let's say I'm based in UK, Canada, Australia, and I work there or have my business there, I want to invest in the UAE real estate market. On a ready property, I can get up to 60% finance. So there's a difference because my income is outside UAE, I'm based outside UAE. So the bank wants me to put in more money, so it's safer for the bank.
In your experience, what is the split you have seen of people applying for mortgages, resident, like a UAE resident versus a non-UAE resident?
As per my personal viewpoint, if you ask me, I think residents are around 65%, non-residents are 35%. But it's increasing because the way we have handled COVID or the situation after COVID, majority of the population is coming from outside who wants to set up a company here, buy a house here, place their family here because of the schools, because of the options they have, and because of the safety we have in this country. That's
so
the reason price
has
is
this
also going up.
number changed drastically after COVID? But it's still very less. Like if you're saying only 35% of the non-residents are applying
This is for
mortgage.
the loans. There are people who are wealthy, no? Millionaires don't take loans. If you see someone buying 100 million penthouse, he doesn't take a loan. He's wealthy sitting in UK and he just wants to buy a house for himself where he parks his family here, manages business in both the countries. So he won't approach a bank for a loan. But if you compare the data that is available, a lot of millionaires are also moving to UAE.
Do you mind me telling the nationalities of the non-residents who are applying for a mortgage?
That data will be available with DLD because they analyze how many mortgages are booked. But I'm sure the majority of the Asian countries, Indians, Pakistanis, people from Europe are the ones who are buying properties here on a loan.
And what challenges these non-residents may face while applying for a mortgage?
It's just they have to meet the right person who can guide them, because someone who's sitting outside the country has to get the right contact point who can tell them this is the eligibility and this is the paperwork. Most of the countries, we need to get the translation done as well. Like if I'm based in a European country where the language is different, so a bank sitting in UAE can't underwrite my documents. So first we have to tell the client that this set of documents, you have to get the legal translation done. Then only we submit the file to the bank. It takes little time, but Loans are doable, and I'm sure people are buying.
So it's not a very complicated process.
It's not at all a complicated process.
You walked us through the process of what steps are involved while applying for a mortgage for the residents, right? You said you need a salary or you're self-employed, etc. So let's say if I am a non-resident and I want to purchase a property worth 2 million dirhams in UAE and I'm salaried in India, what documents do I require then?
Your bank statements for last 6 months where your salary is credited, a salary certificate from your employer. If there is a credit report in your respective country, there are many countries still who don't have a credit report. So if India has that, which is called a CIBIL report, we take that report and we underwrite the client.
So in cases where the countries do not have a credit score, how do you evaluate? Only based on the bank statement?
The bank statements, yes. On the income which is being credited to the account. And there are two ways. A client who's non-resident can get a loan on basis of the balances he's maintaining in his personal account or on the basis of the income that is deriving in that personal account. There are two ways a bank does it. For self-employed is majority the balances. For a salaried, there are options where they look at the salary credit. But the issue is in those countries, there is taxation as well. So it's very difficult to understand what is the net he's getting in hand to derive the eligibility.
Let's say I have properties in India, right? So I do have collateral to show. Does it impact or does it help in getting a better score or getting approved for a mortgage in UAE? Like I have 5 bungalows in India.
It has no value add.
There is nothing which you check. I can't put that as an asset.
I'll tell you. You have 5 houses in India which are mortgaged or let's say they are fully paid up. How does it add value for a bank who's lending in Dubai on a property in Dubai? It doesn't have any value add.
But you're also checking my bank statements. So I have my money in India. I do not have money in UAE, right? Because I'm a non-resident. So why it does not help? Because I also hold properties. I have 5 properties.
How do I evaluate those properties? I don't have the bandwidth. No, a bank sitting in Dubai can't evaluate Indian properties or properties in Pakistan. Being wealthy is good, but every time that wealth can't be put on paper.
Wow, I had this assumption that if you have property in India or in any other country for that matter, you probably can use that as a
Then
great
the bank
asset
will politely
to
tell
buy
you that, ma'am, you're wealthy,
mortgage.
please buy on cash.
Sell that property and then
Just
take
then
it
buy on
on
cash. Yeah.
Very interesting.
See, when you go to the bank, you are a borrower. So you have to behave like that. Bank is lending money. So they decide whom they want to lend. So if a client shows I have 10 houses, bank is very happy for him. Sir, good, you're wealthy. But that doesn't hold any value add when I'm underwriting him in lending him more money here. Because for me, what is the income and what is the asset I'm placing alien? Those 5 houses have no value, no. I can't touch them. Tomorrow, I give him a loan on a 10 million house in Dubai. He doesn't pay here. Can I touch those 5 houses? No.
What are the instances, if you can give me some examples, when a client forgets that they are borrowers? Like probably because they're very wealthy, so they don't behave in
It's
in
good
this
to
way.
be wealthy. But I'm just saying that when you go to a bank to borrow money, you have to comply with their policies, their timelines. I understand there is something called as TAT, turnaround time. But when you apply to a lender, you have to accommodate and adjust as per their timelines because they are lending. They are underwriting your profile. At times, it could take more further time due to compliance reasons. So it is just having patience.
So is it true that the timeline for a non-resident UAE is much longer?
Than a resident customer because the due diligence is more, right? He doesn't have a bank account here. I need to check his global issues that is he a restricted national? Is he doing something wrong back home? Can I open his account? Those things a bank has to check, right? So it's not about, the bank is there to lend money to someone who can repay back on time. So that's why they have opened a shop of lending. But they also are not in the business of just collecting properties. So because a client feels, I'm giving my house to the bank is not worried. Bank is worried that I should give money to the right person who pays us on time.
So in your experience, majority of the loan applicants, are they investors or are they end users?
As per the current scenario, majority is end users because there's a good amount of population who's been based here for long and they have realized that if they see a future in this country for next 10 to 20 years, rather than paying rent, they want to buy their property. Plus, once they buy their first property, let's say both husband and wife are earning, that tempts them to buy another property because the rental returns have improved now. So as an individual, if I want to become or increase my wealth in the coming years, I may buy one property for myself. I'm comfortable with it. And then I have my wife earning as well. So then I look at an investment property. That once rented again gets me on the same income level, then I can go for my third or fourth property. So that's how people understand that real estate can be used to grow their wealth, and they build up a property portfolio for themselves in 10 years. So assume if someone is 40, he buys a house each year. By the time he's 50, he has 10 houses, for example. Once he retires, he has those 10 houses rental income to manage his backup plan.
So the answer would be that the majority are the end users and not investors, because investors usually have that cash flow, so they don't go for mortgages.
And investors target projects which are off plan. So they buy at the initial stage, see that the project or the property is getting an appreciation after 50% or 70% payment done to the developer. Then they sell the property with the premium, okay, exit that transaction and use the money multiple times. Because an investor's logic is, I buy, book a profit and come out. He doesn't wait much till the handover and then sells it, because then his money is stuck for 2 years period. So then he doesn't become an investor. No one holds investments for 2 years. So the plan is invest in 6-8 months, see appreciation, move to the another property. That's how you keep on increasing your wealth.
You mentioned that a lot of salaried people, right, or even the self-employed ones who have been in UAE for long, who have a decent amount of savings, now they're looking at investing in their house. We have seen a surge recently in the mortgage percentage. How do you see it unfolding in the next 5 years?
It will definitely increase because more and more people want to buy a house, and they understand because of the stability of the region.
Okay.
See,
So you haven't seen a decline in the percentage at all,
No way.
even irrespective of the mortgage interest rate being higher?
Interest rate right now for a salaried client is 4%. Fairly practical for a guy to pay that interest and manage a own house rather than paying rental. If I plan to stay in a country for let's say 10 years, why would I pay rent? Because I can buy an asset today, pay an EMI. In 10 years, if the asset appreciates, I book a profit. Even if it doesn't appreciate, whatever I have paid doesn't come back to me when I'm selling the asset. But if I have just rented a house for 10 years, everything which is paid in rental, let's say I pay 100,000 rental, so I've just paid 1 million to someone and the asset is also not mine.
For a newcomer in UAE, what advice would you give them to own a property?
If they can arrange the down payment, either from their savings back home, from their parents, or their inherited wealth, which they're getting from their family, it's better to buy the property.
So let's say I have arrived in Dubai today. I've made that move because I like Dubai, it's safe, it's something which I can see my future in. Is it fair to say that within 6 months, I can get a mortgage loan?
You can get in 2 months also. There are banks who can give you on 2 salary credit as well.
Really? So if I am new with my first 2 salaries,
You can get a loan.
I can get a mortgage loan. But you would need a substantial amount of savings in that case, right? Because I'm new. So how do you, I mean, the probation
I just
period
mentioned
itself
you will
is
have
just 3
savings
months.
from your home country.
Correct.
You will have money from your parents, or you'll have inherited wealth. If these three are not there, then we should dream after a certain age. We should not dream first. We should be practical in life. Like I told you half an hour back, if someone who doesn't have a down payment, then they should wait and save money for that down payment.
So let's say I do have the down payment, right? So I rephrase the question. I arrived in Dubai today. I have my 20% down payment. I'm looking for an 80% mortgage. In 2 months, can I get a mortgage?
Yes.
With my salary
Yes.
slips? However, my probation period is 3 months. Will I still get a mortgage?
Yes. There is a bank who's lending, it's fine.
And what if I lose my job after 2 months? What happens to my whole mortgage?
I'm sure if you're
plan.
qualified and you're intelligent and you have that sense of mind, you will look out for another job. 3 months, you will get another job. If you don't get and you understand that I'm not qualified, I'm not capable as per the region, then you tell the bank and they will sell the property or you sell the house.
And how complicated is that process? If let's
Quite
say,
tedious, and I don't want to go there because whenever someone borrows, that is the last thing that you should think of, because everyone buys assets with a positive mindset, not with the mindset that tomorrow if I lose my job, tomorrow if my company throws me out, tomorrow how do I repay the loan? So that conversation should never happen in your mind as well, because then you're giving it space to get it activated.
but isn't it a fair thing to plan, especially for a newcomer, right? I'm sure everyone thinks that the job is safe, it's a secure place. But in today's age,
So how do we
going
understand what is
on-
the right time then? I may be 6 years in a company, they can still throw me out the next day. So how does it help?
Probably I'll have more money by then, right? Isn't it a fair thing to say? If let's say I've been in Dubai for 5 years and I compared myself to a colleague who has been here for 2 months. Because of my experience which I hold in the region and of the money which probably I'm assuming that, I
You will
will
not have
saved.
that much money that you can knock off the full loan, right? With 6 years experience also, I will not be able to accumulate 1.5 million if I have a 2 million property or what. So that will always remain.
So how transparent are you talking about these situations?
I'm getting a driving license to get into a car. I am responsible if I bang someone, correct? Does the showroom tell me don't take the car? Does the bank tell me don't take car loan?
No, it's about...
So same goes if I lose my job, Shrishti.
It's like about the penalties, right? That, for example, am I aware of that, the penalties? Because what you're saying is logical. Everybody knows that, okay, if tomorrow I'm going to lose the job and I had a loan on my head,
Then
how
I
much...
could technically answer that if someone loses their job, they can approach their bank and understand the process, because none of us know how the banks react. I'll tell you why. If I default, if I have not been paying on time, they will give me 3 months and they'll throw me out of the house. So there's no timeline. One bank can throw me in 1 month, one bank can throw me in 1 year.
Sometimes there are people who go and negotiate with the bank.
Correct.
Correct?
That's called a settlement.
The settlement. That, these are the circumstances, allow me more time. I would come back, I'm a defaulter, in 3 months I'll find a job. Do we discuss this beforehand that in case you become a defaulter, XYZ might happen? So do you at that stage inform the client that if you become a defaulter, of course, there would be a penalty. However, you can come back to us. We can, ask for a settlement, ask for a renegotiation of the percentage of interest, ask for more time.
The bank has a collections team. Whenever someone loses their job or is being made to be redundant or defaults in an installment, ideally he should approach the collections team. They would sit and guide him on a solution. Individually, solutions are separate. Like each of us has a different shoe size. Every problem has a different solution.
Someone asked this question that, boss, I took a loan. I've lost my job. I'm clueless what to do. Other people
What kind
obviously
of a loan was
advised.
that? That was a personal loan?
That was a personal loan, I suppose.
Okay, so in that case, his end of service benefits are taken over by that bank.
Let's say someone has taken a mortgage, but they default. What happens?
The bank will understand, if I have taken a mortgage, I have defaulted on my EMI payment. Was it carelessness as a one-off? Have I lost my job? Have I been asked to leave? Have I been terminated? Okay. Or is it I'm just switching my job from one to another, that I have not got a salary for a month, so I have not paid the installment. So that's what you need to approach the bank. Each bank has a separate collections team which gets into a trigger when an installment is not paid. So they start reaching out to a client by calling him, sending him an SMS that, sir, your EMI is due, please put the money. Once he doesn't pay it for 10 days or 15 days, he receives a call that, sir, there is a problem. Have you lost your job? So if he's salaried, these are the questions they will ask him. Correct? If he's self-employed, they would want to check if that bank has his company account. Has he still been transactioning? Is he still doing business? Or has he skipped the country? Because the problem which people have seen in this region is, if someone is salaried, 90% he's qualified. He's educated with a certain skill set. So if he loses his job, he may take 3-4 months and find another job. A self-employed, the risk is high. If I lose money in my business, it's difficult I can generate that money again. So that is a scary part with self-employed. Correct? So the bank wants to understand from the client what is the reason, and accordingly they will guide him. So the collections team meets the client, understands what is the reason, how much time do you need, and then they have a recovery process. That the client says, give me 2 months, I will repatriate money from my home country and I will pay the installments. So they understand he may show bank statements, money is parked in his home country in a fixed deposit, which he will uplift and move the money here. But if there is a scenario where he doesn't have money anywhere, then the bank can politely tell him that, sir, just to avoid a stressful situation, if you feel you will take time getting a job, maybe because of your age, maybe you're not that qualified, or there is less job opportunity in his industry for certain reason, then it's better that you try to sell the property from your side. Indirectly, we will also try to check if we can sell it for you. Bank can't keep an asset outstanding for a longer time. That impacts their portfolio, their books. So they agree on a timeline and then they execute it.
So there is a solution, like they can probably look for different alternatives, but it's a case to case basis. How
It all depends on
complicated
the
or how
client
simple.
profile. No? Every scenario is different. Someone would have lost a job due to a certain reason, and someone may not get another job quicker because of a certain reason. So the bank needs to understand, if someone is terminated for fraud, it's difficult for him to get a job easily, because that fraud thing will impact in the new employer as well. So then in such cases, it's better that he knows he's done something wrong, sell the property and get offboarded easily than the stress.
Did you see influx of such cases during COVID, and how was it
Influx
really
of
dealt
such
with?
cases happened during COVID
Yeah.
because many industries asked people to leave their job. Many industries reduced salaries. So this happened. But then if you go back and check, that time the banks allowed a waiver because the banks understood nothing was moving for 20 days, 1 month. So the bank gave grace period for those 1 or 2 months or 3 months because they knew out of 100, 80 are impacted. Flights were not flying. So cabin crew was impacted. Aviation jobs were impacted. So then the banks also understand.
Banks know that it's
that's why people need
Yeah.
to have the right reasoning for the bank to accommodate.
Why do you think that the real estate market price is increasing in the UAE?
So Shrishti, after COVID, the way it was handled in UAE, people feel more secured. UAE was one of the first countries which opened faster with respect to people movement, businesses opening up, travel opening up. So that gave a comfort to people that the way we handled, it can handle much more bigger things. Like if you remember what happened last year on that rainy day, 2 days UAE was impacted. But the third day, everything became normal. People were driving on the roads, everything was. So how quick we act in repairing things gives confidence to people. That's why people are moving here. So majority of population increase has happened. Real estate prices increased. Property prices were appreciated. Majority on the townhouse and villas, apartments as well. Because people have got that confidence that, boss, we are comfortable here. We don't mind investing our savings here. So end user is buying. New people are moving into the country. So if you see the population of the place, it's increased in the last 4 years. And they have multiple plans, plan for 2030, plans for 2040. So they have a master plan that how they want to manage the country. That gives more confidence. Golden visa gives more confidence that people can buy properties, have a golden visa, do not need to come to UAE, have a visa, stay in their country and invest here. So all those things have helped in property appreciation. Second, people feel more comfortable that even if they have 10 houses, they don't have to pay income tax here. So all those things get more comfortable.
What difference do you see in the mortgage percentage in other countries versus UAE?
What we need to understand is each region or a country is separate. European countries are separate. India, Pakistan are separate. Those countries, the people borrowing are their citizens. Here, the people borrowing is an expat population. So for an expat to buy a property, take a loan at 4% is very practical and cheap. So compared to how the UAE is functioning, it is practical and reasonable. That's why people are borrowing here. If it was expensive, people would have not taken mortgages and bought one house, second house, or third house. So if you compare, I'm sure there are countries where the interest rates are cheaper. But we don't hold nationality in those countries. We are an expat from India having a visa here. So for us, if we are able to buy and get a loan at 4%, it's quite practical and profitable.
However, we do see a lot of cash movement, right? A lot of cash investment in Dubai. What you think that drives in the UAE?
The comfort, the safety that you can park money here. There's DIFC where people can manage their funds, invest in multiple products other than real estate, and manage their investment portfolio. So the comfort this country gives overall, that if I am wealthy, I can buy 10 houses as well. And similar money I can invest through a private banker in equity or other products. So then I have distributed my wealth and both can be managed at the same time.
Why are more people using cash while purchasing property in the UAE?
Because they don't want to pay interest. That could be a reason that if I'm wealthy, why should I still pay 4% to a bank? And maybe I have an intent that I may sell that property faster. So I don't want to go through a paperwork of a loan. And after 3 months, because if I'm seeing an appreciation, I sell the asset. Then I want to play it with my cash as well. So that's also an option.
Talking about the global market, we say that the interest rate in UAE is affordable, or is it's easy. It's not so
easy.
difficult.
Affordable is the right word.
Affordable,
Because if
yeah.
in my income, I'm getting a loan at 4%, then it's completely fine that I'm able to repay, manage it. That property, if I rent it tomorrow, I'm getting a 6% or 7% return. That's still fine. I pay building maintenance or the service fee. Still, I'm able to pay the interest.
So
Service the interest.
what other global trend would you like UAE to follow when it comes to the mortgage interest rate or an approval process?
One thing good about UAE is we don't follow global trend. People follow us. So whatever UAE initiates or starts, the world starts following us.
So do you see that because Dubai is very future centric, right? We already have plans, as you mentioned, what UAE will look like in 2040. We have started integrating AI in lots of processes, even while purchasing real estate. So in the mortgage industry, do you see AI to be an important factor in the forthcoming years? Do you see that the mortgage approval process will become paperless in the UAE?
That's also expected, yeah. Fintech companies are working very closely with the banks in doing that. So a salaried customer can get a pre-approval in one day as well. So all that is under process. It's been happening also, and that's the future.
So how soon do you think we can go paperless? Just an idea, of course. We
For
know
a
that
salaried client, maybe 2 years.
Oh, wow. Very, very soon. And how do you see, can you give me examples of how AI will play a role in the mortgage industry?
So AI could be helping a real estate agent in shortlisting properties for a client. It could help a client sitting in UK view a house here. It could help a bank also to do quicker approvals.
So is it something that is in process?
It's in process. All banks are
Or
working to
do
save
you
cost as
think
well.
that it's only in ideation? Like, will banks or will the brokers ever rely on AI for
They
verification?
can't rely completely. They can't rely completely. Human touch will still be there, either as a mortgage broker or a real estate agent. But certain activities will be taken over by the AI systems just to save time and effort.
Tokenization is the future of real estate. People can buy super luxury properties at a very fractional amount. Do you see this will have an impact on the mortgage applications?
So state tokenization is fairly a new concept right now. So it's at its initial stages. So right now, people are implementing it, trying to study it as a test and then seeing how it works. So the issue would come, as per my thought processes, assume I have taken 2 tokens of, let's say, 100,000 on a particular property, which is worth 10 million, okay? And I want to keep that token and take a mortgage. Issue would be, how does a bank place a lien on that asset? I just have 200,000 worth of tokens for a property value of 10 million. So the bank needs to work on a process and understand without placing a lien, because there are 80 people who own that property. Other 80 are not allowing the bank or don't want to borrow. But me, I want to borrow with that 200,000. So the bank needs to understand and bridge a gap of how they can lend me money. Either those tokens can be mortgaged, not the asset. That tokens can be mortgaged or parked as a security with the bank, and the bank can lend me money, or that is something which the bank needs to work on. So as now, how it will impact mortgage or support, I don't think much in the nearest 1 year or 2 years. But as the concept widens, where more and more people are investing through tokenization, and then if they want to withdraw their money for their personal gain or to invest further, that's when the action will happen.
So as if now you can only buy a token or a piece of land with ready cash available.
Correct.
But in the future, we can look at the possibilities of probably using that token as a collateral to get a mortgage.
I'm sure banks also don't want to lose out on that part of the business. Everyone doesn't want to lose business. So if tokenization becomes common in next 2 years, I'm sure in 2 years, banks' legal team will try to get a solution of how they can place a lien, hold a security and lend money. So it benefits the client who has tokens and the bank to earn money from
this
them.
Will become the future of mortgage.
Yeah, maybe next 2 years or 1 year. Depends. See, it evolves faster. So the more faster people are getting into buying tokens, that's how a solution will come in.
So Amit, let's do a quick rapid fire round. Fixed or variable rate?
Fixed.
Why?
It's always better that if I take a fixed rate for 3 years, I know that my outflow on my EMI is locked for the next 3 years. So then I can manage my finances in a much better way.
Buy or rent in the Dubai market?
Buy.
Single biggest mortgage mistake?
People don't pay their utilities on time. They miss it because of a careless behavior.
Your number one finance book recommendation?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Great.
Coincidentally, my father also likes that book.
Yeah, I like that book as well. Okay, thank you for your time, Amit. It was great talking to you. Thank you for demystifying the mortgage rules and regulations and giving us such valuable insights. I'm sure our listeners would love to listen to the whole podcast and we'll have many questions which we will route it to you.
Thank you, Srishti, for having me on board. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
they all benefit. And even if they need any assistance, they can reach out to me.
100%.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.